So this week I've had a week off, so I've tried, and Rachel's been holding the fort, and our good friend Fiona has joined us for the week, and she's joined the team, and so Rachel and Fiona have been formidable in keeping everything going, and it's just enabled me to have some rest, which was desperately needed. So anyway, I put out on the live last Sunday that I thought would be a good idea. I thought, apart from just sort of like lolling about and resting, I thought it'd be quite nice to go out and see the surrounding areas, and take you guys on a little journey as well, and show you what's around here, because obviously we've got a lot of supporters from all over the world, and some of you have never been to Spain, so you've got no idea of what it's like around here. So I thought it'd be quite nice just to show you some of the sights. So we thought we'd start off with Mula Castle. So if you'd like to come with me now, let's go to the castle. It's on the horizon. It's quite hard to see, to be honest, on this camera, but yeah, let's go and have a look. So I don't think you can hear me because of the wind, probably not, but I thought what we'll do is we'll take a trip up on the bike, and I'm on the I've got this little old Honda motorbike that's about 30 years old. It's a little pile of junk, to be honest, but it's great. I love it. I love it for things like this, because you can just get around and it doesn't upset anybody because it's nothing flash or anything like that. And it's just a reliable little old bike, and it's great. It's great. So anyway, we're heading up now to the castle, and I thought, why not make the journey as much of an adventure as the destination? Well, look, I'll just take you on the motorbike with me. We have to go through the town of Mula, this one. Song at this point, near Rubby Rubbies. I do think that Steve would enjoy this, you know. I think Steve should be on the back here with his old ears waggling in the wind, and maybe I could squeeze Ronnie on as well. Perhaps Ronnie could sit on the front of the bike, Steve on the back, and we could just like boys on tour. Okay, so we made it. Trying to take your helmet off with one hand is a bit tricky. Hold on. Oh, okay, let the history lesson begin. Or rather, I should say, my version of the history lesson. Let's let that begin. The main parts of the castle that you can see from here, which would be the modernish walls here, and they're built on older walls underneath it, which bit that you can see from afar, and the main part is built in the 1500s, early 1500s, so it's nearly 500 years old, which actually for castles isn't really that old. But where it gets interesting is where the castle, or how the castle was built, or its location, because it was built on an old fortification from the Moors, and the Moors were obviously prevalent in Spain on the Iberian Peninsula for many years, but the fortification dates back nearly 2,000 years. So it's a very historic point, and you can understand why they built it. Now the thing is, the locals have just built this, and it's preventing us from gaining access, which I didn't know they'd built and put up here, which is a little bit frustrating because you could used to walk all the way around. Well, by the power of some magic, I seem to have arrived behind the gate that was sealing it off. I don't quite know how that happened. I seem to pass through here we go. Hold on, there's some guys here. Let me have a little chat with them, see if they'll let me go and have a little look. This could be a little bit awkward. Hola! Oh, I know him. So as luck would have it, the gentleman that was working on the castle up here and doing the works happens to be the same guy that comes up and takes all the poop away. So he's currently on contract up here, so that was quite nice. I just asked him if he would let us come in and have a little look around the castle, but he said he can't because he's just laid loads of fresh cement, and we can't pass on it because it's not passable. But he said when it's all done, when the cement's steady, he will let us come up and shoot some video up at the castle, so that'll be really nice. So yeah, you never know who you're going to bump into, do you? Look at that view. The ridge is located, I don't know if you can see, probably can't see on here, but the ridge is located over in that area. It sort of comes down from the mountains and then there's a drop off, and that is actually the ridge, and that ridge runs all the way along from it's a river, and it goes all the way up to, well, that's our next nearest village, and then to the right of that village there's a big lake, and from that lake runs the river, which over the years has carved out the ridge. And you can see the mountain range over there is Sierra Espuña, which is Spain's first national park and protected area, but that was the first one in Spain, so that's very interesting if you like that kind of thing. And this is all Mula. So here you've got a couple of schools, that's a big school there, and you've got a main high street which runs sort of through the middle of it, which you can't really see from here, and it's a very sort of like busy, bustly market town. Sleepy at times, but it seems to be coming alive now, but I think it's because everyone's running home to get lunch. This is the back end of the castle, so this is the part that's away from the ridge that you can't see, but you can see how high it is and its elevation and why it was chosen. I mean, what a fantastic spot if you've got to defend. You see people coming a mile off. Right the way over there on the horizon you can see Murcia, and on a clear day you can even see elements of the sea. So it's an incredible spot. Now directly ahead of us there, which I don't know if you can make out on this, but that's the site of another old Moors fortification, and that one predates this one by about 1,000 years. That's an incredible spot which I can take you to in another video. But if we come up here, see the castle a little bit better. So the old fortification elements would be this part here. There's old stone building you can see the remnants of. That's what they built this on, and that's the stuff that's nearly 2,000 years old. It's incredible. that part up there is also the original, and it's a completely different building material that they've used, but it has it's remained after all these years. Okay, so we've got some other little, so that's sort of like the boring history side of it. So the story is okay, there's a few versions of history here. I'm just going to add my one just to confuse matters a little bit more. So the castle was originally built in response to an uprising in Mula about 500 years ago. It was like a peasants' revolt, and they rose up against the powers that be in this region, and that revolt was squashed and the people were pushed back down. And then the powers that be, to remind everybody that they were the powers that be and that they were the ones that were in control, decided to build this castle. And so its original intention, I mean, obviously it's a defensive spot and all the rest of it, but if you really boil it down, was a symbol of oppression. It was just to control people and to imprison people. So it was quite an interesting backstory to this castle. Let's have a look at some other bits and pieces. There's local history and recent history. About 20 years ago, a little girl who was about 10 or 11 years old, she was playing up here, and it was before they fenced it all off, so you could literally go in there and climb all over the castle. She was about 10 or 11 years old, and there was a well inside, and unfortunately one night she was playing around the well with her friends. She fell down the well and she died, and it was a good, I think it's about 10 meters, something like that. The well was that deep, and she lost her life, which was very, very sad, obviously, but they didn't do anything about it. They didn't change the well, they just left it open, and that was it. And then about 10 years later, and this would have been about 9 years ago, a little girl was up here playing with her sister and some kids, and she fell down the well as well. Luckily she didn't die. She broke her arm and she broke her legs really badly, and it was quite a rescue operation to get her out of the well. And yeah, that was at that point, that's what pushed the authorities to put pressure on to the castle's owners, because it's privately owned, believe it or not, by a family in Madrid, to do something with it. So they're now working, the authorities are now working with the private owners to make it secure. They did some fundraising, did everything, got it secured, and it's an important landmark in this area, so they've done what they can to secure it. So some little bit of local history for you. I've got another little bit of local history for you. This one's, I don't think will make it onto Wikipedia, but a few years ago we had some volunteers over, and we decided one of the trips we did was to come up to the castle to show everybody the castle, because it's very interesting and there's beautiful views. So we came up. I've got a car full of people, must have been about 8 or 9 of us in the wagon at the time. Got to the top, and there was a car parked here, just like this one here. Well, I won't show its number plate, but it wasn't that car. And so I just pulled up next to it, thinking it was another, another group of people that were looking around the castle. As we pulled up next to it, I looked to the left, where they were, and as I've looked to the left, I couldn't believe what I saw was 2 people, shall we say, getting very amorous, and the car started rocking, and we just all stared in absolute, it wasn't shocking, it was just that we weren't expecting to see it, and we didn't really know what we were looking at to start with. It was just like, we just, you know, when you just don't expect to see something. And these 2 people were absolutely going at it, hammer and tong in this car. I don't think they even realised that we were there, and we were just like, there's just all these faces at the window of our car, just like going, It was just like no information, and then it was like the penny drop for all of us. Then was like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? So we just reversed back because we didn't really want to disturb them, because oh no, how terrible if they think we were just standing there staring at them. It was just became a little bit of a strange thing anyway. And lo and behold, so we drove off. That was quite funny. And then, but obviously, it destroyed our fun that afternoon to go and look at the castle. But it gave us something to talk about. And then, would you believe it? The next time I came up here, it happened again, the same thing. So I just came up here on the bike, and when I saw that car parked, I thought, oh no. Well, so that's Moolah Castle. I'm going to jump on the bike now and head back to the sanctuary. So let's go. Buckle up, it's going to be quite a ride. So I thought, on the way back, I thought, what might be quite a nice idea is if I go back a different way and go through the old town of Moolah, and we'll just take the bike through the old streets, and you can see just exactly how tight it is and what the old historic part of Moolah looks like. So let's go that way home. So, I hope you enjoyed that little journey through Moolah and up to the castle, and normal service will resume tomorrow with some more chats with the donkeys. I did actually record a little video with the donkey tonight, and I put it on hyperlapse, unbeknownst to me. So I did a chat with Steve and a chat with Ronnie, but they were both on hyperlapse, and it looked a little bit something like this. So have a look at this, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.